Hello, students. Today we move on to the fourth stanza of Ode to a Nightingale by John Keats. Now, in the third stanza, which was autobiographical, we saw how Keats was overburdened with personal problems and wanted to escape into the world of the nightingale. Continuing in that same strain, we see in the fourth stanza the first line where he says, "Away, away, for I will fly to thee." Now, the repetition of the word away, away shows how desperate he is to get away from this world. Now, why he is desperate, we already saw in the third stanza, because of the problems, how his brother had died, how he was suffering from TB, how he was rejected in love, and so many other problems that the people in those generation face. So, because of all that, he wanted to escape, and here this desire becomes more intense when he repeats the word away, away. For I will fly to thee. Thee means he wants to be desperately in the world of the nightingale, wants to join the nightingale. There's an intense desire expressed here in this line. In the next line, he says, "Not charioted by Bacchus and his paths, but on the viewless wings of poesy." Bacchus, who is Bacchus? Bacchus is the god of wine, and paths refers to his leopards. Now, Bacchus was accompanied by leopards. So, he says in the previous stanza, he had wanted to take the help of wine to reach the world of the nightingale, but here uh, there is a rethink by him. He no longer wants to take the help of wine, but what does he want to do? He wants to be charioted. Charioted means he wants to be carried, or he wants to be transported, not by wine, but by what? By the viewless wings of poesy. Viewless means invisible, something that cannot be seen. Wings of poesy, that is through poetry. That is, in other words, imagination. So he wants to be transported into the world of the nightingale through fancy and imagination. Moving on to the next line. Through the dull Though the dull brain perplexes and retards. But to reach that world, he needs his imagination, his brain to be active. But there's a problem here. What's the problem? He is experiencing a dullness. That is, he feels a kind of a retardation. Perplex means confusion. Retardation means a kind of inactivity, slowness. In other words, you would say a writer's block or a mental block when they feel that they are not able to compose. So he is, in a way, feeling that kind of a writer's block, unable to compose poetry, unable to think, in a confused state, unable to imagine and compose poetry. The next line, already with thee. That is, one moment you see he's confused, the very next moment he is already with thee. That is, his imagination has not let him down. He is already with the nightingale. Tender is the night. Tender is the night. Night is not tender. What is tender? His emotions are tender. So, this is an example of a transferred epithet. That is, he has transferred his emotion to something else. That is, he's transferred it to the night. The night is not tender. The emotions of the poet are tender. And here he says the queen moon. So, what time of the day is Keats with the bird? It is night time. that he is in the company of the nightingale. The imagination, the imagery that he has used over here is associated with darkness and night. And he says here the moon is visible. It is the moon, he addresses the moon as the queen who is sitting on her throne surrounded by phase, starry phase, that is the stars. So here also the imagery is very fanciful, very imaginative. Atmosphere is soft, his emotions are soft, and he imagines that he is in the world of the nightingale where the moon is shining brightly. It's a starry night. Moving on. But here there is no light. Here means the place where the poet is. In that place there is no light. Now, as students of literature, you have to use your imagination and just think where the poet must be or what he is feeling. So this is, you have to imagine that this is a thick forest, and in the forest you have these trees, and because of those trees the moonlight is not able to reach where the poet is. That's why he's saying here there is no light save what from heaven is with the breeze blown. So he is saying that the night is dark, it's a thick forest, and because of the lush greenery, the many trees, these have blocked the moonlight. So whatever light is coming is shining through the leaves and the branches when they are swaying in the breeze. See, save what from heaven is with the breezes blown. So when the breeze blows, the trees sway to and fro, and when they sway to and fro, that is when the moonlight filters through or comes down and reaches where the poet is through the verdurous glooms and winding mossy ways. So, verdurous glooms means, verdurous refers to greenery, which is lush, and glooms refers to darkness. That is, this lush greenery is causing darkness. In other words, what he's trying to say is that the moonlight travels down the trees and this lush greenery in a winding way. Winding way when when the trees, the branches of the trees part because of the swaying of the trees, and this makes the nightingale's world sound almost like a very mysterious and a magical place, something like a fairy tale. So in this stanza we see how Keats fantasizes about the world of the nightingale and how he wants to escape from the real world to be free from his anxieties and problems and find solace in the world of the nightingale. Next time we'll do the fifth stanza.